So really, just a little bit of what we call a bloodbath. So we're going to get to see two of those players in action this round here at Grand Prix Seattle, round 13. I'm Brian David Marshall. He's Marshall Sutcliffe. On your right, Luis Scott-Vargas. On your left, reigning player of the year, Owen Turtenwald.
Wow. What a crazy game.
Essentially a win, not even a win and in. It's like a win and still maybe be in. Right, so we see
it's a losing out.
Yeah, it is definitely a losing out.
All right. So it looks like Luis has let off.
A
pouting out, yeah. Has let off with an Abyssinian Priest and Elder Cathar. And he is facing down Owen's board of
Deranged
3
Assistant.
lands and one of your favorite cards, Deranged Assistant. And he is going to flash in a Sea Kite, which is just going to get tapped down. And Owen's just going to take the 2, so he's going to be at 17 here. And then Luis leads up with a Flare. So far, every creature that Luis has played is a human.
Yeah.
And
that player can do a lot of work.
It can do a lot of work. And Owen's side of the table typically has a really hard time dealing with a card like that. It needs something like a Claustrophobia to make it work. So Owen decides to attack in for 3 here, bring Luis to 17, and then his follow-up play is Chapelgeist. Luis makes his 5th land drop. He's got presumably all of his colors. And he is sussing out his attack phase or any first main phase action that he'd like to make. We'll see a Village Bellringer's in his hand, and he's just going to pass a turn back. So he's either got something he wants to play on Owen's turn, or he's planning on activating the Skurstake Flare. He's also got just a tapper that he can do. He's going to sack the Elder Cathar to the Flare, and he's probably going to kill the Chapelgeist? Oh, not the Chapelgeist. He's going to kill the Sea Kite. And he's going to put them onto the Flare. Okay, so he's got a 3/3 there, and he's going to tap down the Geist and just take 1 damage. Or not even take a damage. Owen's just going to tap it for mana. And he is at a Lingering Souls with flashback. Wow. What a swing. Again, one of the cards of the... Yeah. Does he have enough tokens? Are there enough tokens in the room? Thing is incredible.
And the Isolated Chapel. That's the Goocher there.
That is the dagger. Wow. Look at that. Look what a swing that one card is.
Yeah, it looked like Luis was just in control here.
Yeah, he looks like he could do a whole lot of things with his mana. He had answers to pretty much anything that Owen's going to be doing. And now all of a sudden, he can hardly attack. He's got 4 1/1s in the air.
Black-white tokens, that was Luis's deck in Kyoto. Yes, he's got to feel a little betrayed here.
That's right. He got 2nd place there, right?
He did.
In one of the better matches I've seen.
Yeah.
I've watched that a few times.
Yeah, against Gabriel Nassif.
Yes. The negate game. All right, so he went ahead and sent in his Flare, and it looks like Owen just decided to take it. And we're going to Farbog Bone Fling one of the spirit tokens.
I'm never going to feel comfortable saying that.
You got to say it carefully. Okay, all the flyers come in for 5. It's going to bring Luis to 12. And we're making mana. There's a Angel of Flight Alabaster that got milled. And that is a Mind Crusher. So that's a 5/5 with Undying. And when it enters the battlefield, he's going to have target player mill 5.
And he milled himself.
He milled himself, and I saw another Isolated Chapel. So he has what looks like a very comfortable splash there.
Sure.
You know, one card we could be looking out for here, potentially, is on Burial Rites as well. Looks like a rat. It's not a big effect on this board. And he is going to Victim of Night, Chapelgeist. It looks like he's thinking. He could be representing Faith's Shield there, or at least trying to make think Luis that he could have it in his hand.
Legacy, your round 4 pairings for Legacy.
He could actually have it in his hand and just have been thinking about it.
Stage, round 4 Legacy pairings.
I think he does actually have one. Is there a Think Twice somewhere floating around in there? Looks like it. Draw a card. It's planes.
Meanwhile, while we're covering this, on the other side of the table on text coverage, 13-year-old Dylan Winter.
13?
Yeah, is fighting at 10-2 against Samir Merchant for a spot in the top 8.
That's incredible.
Fighting to stay alive for top 8 contention.
Wow. 13?
Yeah.
It's like Luis.
How's that taste?
Yeah. Wow.
So I also saw this player Joel Barnes. He's a local player.
Don't know if I know him.
Well, you probably don't. He said he doesn't know a lot of players.
Okay.
He's played Magic for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
But played mostly Magic online and not played a lot of tournaments. This is only like his 4th or 5th tournament ever.
Oh, wow.
In real life. Yeah.
I wonder how he's handling it. You know, it's a new
really
environment.
Nice. I got a chance to talk to him.
Great.
Sort of like, but he's also excellent too.
Okay. So Luis has tapped down the Mind Crusher with his Priest, and I noticed that Owen drew a silent departure here, so he's assessing the board and seeing what he wants to do. He looks like he's just content to get in for 3. It's going to bring Luis to 6 and put him on a 2-turn clock here. Now, Luis does, if he gets desperate, he can kill a token with his Flayer by sacking one of the creatures that he doesn't really want to. And it looks like what's happening here is Owen is going to go ahead and return the Flayer to Luis's hand, which is going to basically take that option away from him. Luis can replay it post-combat.
Well, Luis is also thinking, like, am I ever going to get a chance to replay it, or I want to sack it to the Disciple of Crystal Brand?
And just gain the 3 life.
Gain the 3 life.
Because it might just be better doing that. And
that's what he decides to do.
Yeah. I like that play.
Reality is I don't want to spend my 3 mana on a 1/1, and I'm not going to do anything else with it.
Yeah, and it's going to cost him a bunch, and I agree. So, thanks to the Disciple of Grizzlebrand there, Luis has a bit of a cushion. Unfortunately, it's going to cost him his board presence to cash it in, so he's still going to find a flyer here.
Consider bouncing the... Yeah, I was just going to say, the Priest is the one...
It's the same thing.
I want to get back to your hand.
Yeah, he's basically just preventing Luis from activating that card the next turn. That means he's going to get to attack with this Mind Crusher. I mean, it looks like it's just going to hit the Typhoid Rats.
But it comes back.
It does come back. Trade might just be inevitable anyway. Owen has milled himself at every opportunity, and he's taking this chance to make sure that if the Mind Crusher does come back, he doesn't put himself in danger of actually getting decked. Generally speaking, you want to mill yourself as often as possible, but there is a very sharp line when you don't want to anymore.
Again, we talk about it, especially when you have cards like Silent Departure, Think Twice, Grasp of Phantoms. You think you're milling yourself, you're like, oh, I don't have this. You also give yourself this opportunity to expand your hand.
Exactly.
Right? Your graveyard becomes this resource. It's one of the most amazing things to me about this format. Is that ability to have all this card advantage from an unexpected place. Like your graveyard is not. You place your cards, go there, you're like, oh, it's gone, it's dead.
And it took people a while to grasp that fact. People hate milling themselves in general, but in this format, you definitely want to. They do now. All right, looks like Owen had a feeling of dread, and he's going to end step flash it back. It was in his graveyard.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, the Priest is summoning sick here, so Luis is not going to be able to actually activate it, keep the Mind Crusher at bay, so we have a Grasp of Phantoms that is going to put...
Look at all those cards that got flashed.
Yeah, seriously. Those were cards that he didn't even play out of his hand. A Think Twice.
The only one he played out of his hand was the Lingering Souls.
Yeah. And I guess the Departure, too.
Scythe,
yeah, Luis is trying to see if, even if he sacks a bunch of guys, if he's going to be able to survive after that, the next turn. Feels a bit...
He's at 9. He takes...
9.
He takes 9.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
so
I mean, he can...
Right, so he's going to have to sack some guys, and so he's going to be alive.
The question becomes, does he want to sack the Priest?
Like, does he want to draw that again?
I don't think he does.
I mean, it's not going to do anything, right? I mean, then again, it is a guaranteed creature that can block if that has any bearing on his game plan. Okay, it looks like he sacked it, so he's going to go to 11. And since he did that, Owen can't actually attack for lethal this turn anyway, so he's just going to hit him for 8.
Well, Owen's at 7.
Yeah. And Luis is going to flash in a blocker here.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've got a Village Bell Ringers that's going to
He's had
attack the
that
Reds.
Village Bell Ringers for a while.
Yes, he has. He's been waiting for the opportune moment, and it looks like this is it.
Yeah, he's got to. Oh, he doesn't let him. He's like, I'm going to gain a life. He's like, I'm not letting you.
Why would you let him have a bigger one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you draw those cards.
Yeah.
Attack, attack, attack.
And Owen snap blocks the Disciple because he doesn't want to let the incremental life gain get him. The 4 toughness on the Bell Ringers is pretty relevant here. It looks like he's content to just let them trade.
Says go. What's that one card? Interesting.
I thought it was a like a Faith Shield or a Skillful Lunge or something, but I can't quite see.
Any more greedy cards in your yard?
He's going to Thought Scour himself because, you can only mill yourself more and more. Is it a Juggernaut? What was it? Okay, so Luis, it is a Juggernaut, and it looks like Luis went to 1 here. And there's an Unburial Rites, but that ought to do it, I suppose. The Disciple's gone now, right? Yeah, it's gone. Luis is going to check his yard and make sure that there's nothing that he's missing here. I don't know what he's got in his hand. I did see the Unburial Rites, but so Brewmethod Disciple.
Gain 4 life off the.
He's going to and gain like a virtual 9,
yeah,
right? Because he's going to block first. Either of Owen's 5/5s. That's Luis's thinking face.
Do.
Yeah.
What could possibly be on top of my deck that'll let me win this game?
Or if he makes a block, what can he bring back with Unburial Rites while still being able to not be dead? Okay. So he's going to gain 4, go to 5. He's going to take 3 and go back down to 2, and he's going to lose both of his creatures
and
there.
untap the Juggernaut.
Yes, which is very key here.
Yeah. But now he still has an Unburial Rites.
He can flash back Unburial Rites. He'll have at least 3 extra mana beyond that. I mean, it's felt like Owen was really smashing this game pretty good, and look at the life totals. Like, it's actually very close.
Yeah.
And Luis says that'll be enough of that.
Trying to decipher that expression on Owen's face.
I am unable to translate that one.
It's a little bit.
I think that's just when he's thinking he has that look. He doesn't look very happy.
Like he smelled something bad.
It's actually very accurate.
Yeah. Hey Rashad, did we get capture either of these players' drafts? I know we captured some drafts. We got Conley and Eric Froelich. Awesome. So we did a couple of draft viewers.
Yep.
Where Rashad. Has it not been on the whole time? Okay. Oh, okay.
It's pointed near you.
All right. So we did a couple of draft viewers earlier.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So we did 2 more this round at the Death Pod.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Who do we get?
We got Conley Woods.
Okay.
And Eric Froelich.
Oh, great.
So we covered both of their drafts.
Oh, I
hopefully
love this draft thing is awesome.
Hopefully they'll both still be alive next round.
Yeah. They're not playing each other, right?
Let's see. No, I think we would have almost certainly had that on camera. Let me see who they're playing. Conley Woods is playing Jackie Lee. By the way, that's a tremendous match right there.
Wow.
And I'm looking for Eric Froelich. He's playing Jeremy Lockridge, one of the wide-eyed with terror other three players at the table.
The poor souls that got sat down at that table.
So again, every player at this pod, the death pod, has to win every round. You have to win every round to stay alive. It means that if you're at this table, you're going to have to beat a Conley Woods, a Luis Scott-Vargas, an Owen Turtenwald, or an Eric Froelich, or a Jackie Lee.
And, just to put it in perspective, Owen put on Twitter after he saw his table that he was not happy about it. And that's coming from Owen, who's a great player in his own right. Imagine if you're somebody who isn't, who's coming out to their GP and they play a couple a year and you sit down at this thing. You're going to play all these. So Luis is presumably on the play here. And he's got to keep. Unruly Mob. And he's going to play Gather the Townsfolk. Which one would you rather have?
I know people love Gather the Townsfolk. I haven't been super impressed with it, except for in situations where I've had a lot of
Hell Riders?
Human synergies.
Okay. Like things you want to sack a human to?
Yeah.
They don't attack very well, it turns out.
Yeah.
Alright. So Luis had a turn 3 Elder Cathar, and Owen has his own turn 3 play. It's an Armored Scob.
So he's really blue-white mill yourself.
He is. Yeah, absolutely. Luis has an Elgod Inquisitor. It's his 4-drop, but it's being held back.
Has Elgod Inquisitor surprised you?
Yeah, it's actually a little better than I thought it was going to be. I saw it and I thought, okay, I'm going to be playing that card, but I actually like it.
I thought borderline unplayable.
Oh, you
when
did?
I saw it,
because it was 4 mana for a 2/2.
Yeah, 4 mana for a 2/2, but...
Yeah. No, I remember thinking, I'll play that, but not excited, and now I'm like, I take it pretty high, actually. So Luis has had enough stalling around.
Enough dirtling, as he likes to call it.
Dirtling, as he would say, yeah. It looks like Owen did the first half of Lingering Souls on his turn, and he's going to put 1 human token and the Armored Scob onto the Elgod Inquisitor. This is kind of a necessary thing. If the opponent has a creature with lifelink, you can't just let it hit you because you'll continually fall behind, and it becomes pretty critical to take care of that creature as soon as possible. So he's going to get a counter on this Unruly Mob and create a token out of the deal, so not too bad. He took out a human token, which wasn't that relevant to the board currently, at least. So we haven't seen black mana from Owen yet this game, so the Lingering Souls is going to have to just linger away in the graveyard until he hits one of his 2 isolated chapels. And Luis is content to trade off one of his spirits for one of Owen's spirits and make his Unruly Mob a 3/3, which looks like it's going to get Rasp of Phantom right when it got to be a 3/3. And it looks like Luis already knew what he was going to do, so he just took it right from the top of his library and put it into play.
So, just also talking about some of the implications of what's going on here. Remember, Brian Kibler's out in front for the race for the U.S. National Championship.
Right.
He's at 56 pro points for the season to Luis Scott-Vargas, who's the second place American right now, with 48. So he's 8 points off.
Okay.
Kibler's done. He did not make D2.
Okay.
If Luis Scott-Vargas wins this tournament, he ties.
Oh, wow.
He ties.
You know he wants to do that, too. He's played on the national team before, right?
He has,
He knows what it's like to represent his country.
I mean, Kibler really wants to be the national champion.
I bet. So Owen did find one of his isolated chapels last turn and has flashback his Lingering Souls. Now he is going to play
there's a Rune Chanter's Pike
after playing
Thought
a
Scour.
Thought Scour. So I don't know the count on the instants and sorceries at the moment.
42. Luis just took 42.
He just took 42 to the... Okay, so he took 7. So it looks like that's 1, 2, 3... So it's like there's 3 of them. Now, Luis has gotten fairly... a nice card here with the Manor Gargoyle. Unfortunately, it's looking like the first strike is going to be pretty relevant on that spirit token.
Yeah.
That Gargoyle is going to lose indestructibility if Luis activates it, so he's going to need a trick or something to take out the token. And then the problem is guess what? That pike just goes on another token.
Yeah, or it just goes on. I mean, it's really difficult to deal with on an armored scab.
Yeah. I think he's got to think twice in there, too. It'll be interesting to see if he wants to just play it. If he wants to leave it in there as the... get the extra pump. So Luis just decides to attack with his Gargoyle since he's not going to block with it anyway. And pass the turn back. He's got 4 cards in his hand, so he's got a lot to think about here. And we've got a Village Bell Ringers coming in. Untapping the Gargoyle, activate the Gargoyle. Owen just wanted to check something, and he's going to Feeling of Dread the Gargoyle and the Cathar.
Ugh. Gain +1 to his pike.
That's right. Gain 1 on his pike, and he waited for Luis to spend the mana to activate the Gargoyle as well.
Luis is at 5.
And we have an end step Sea Kite. Looks like
wow, Owen's deck just looks terrific.
Just smashing here. Yeah, this is a very good deck. All of the flyers are going to come in. We are going to flash back Feeling of Dread to tap Luis's guy, and there's going to be a Smite the Monstrous on a token. This is the point where you groan.
Oh.
Because
he saved himself. He's at 1. Ugh.
Right, so that was to not die, and then this happens, and you've used a card up.
Sure.
It's tough.
Curse of Death's Hold.
Yeah. Yeah, the Runechanter's Pike does not increase toughness. He does go ahead and equip. Is that a Disciple?
It is.
Okay, so Luis might have bought himself a turn here. So is he going to attack with the Gargoyle here? He can gain 4. He's got some options. All right, looks like Owen says, I'd rather just flash back when I think twice and have that 1 extra.
He's got a Grasp of Phantoms in his yard.
So he might have just been digging for a land which he hit here, because now he can flash back the Grasp if he wants. This reminds me of last game.
Owen's deck looks awesome.
I am a big fan of Owen's deck right now. Feeling of Dread? Love it.
Yeah, that was a card when I first looked at the spoiler. I thought, this is...
You recognize his power then?
Yeah.
See, I was like, but...
It's Blinding Beam, dude.
Yeah, see, I didn't play when Blinding Beam was a thing, so...
I mean, it's kind of Blinding Beam. Blinding Beam was really kind of nuts. Because none of their creatures untapped, right? Yeah. So there's the Messenger. The Mind Crusher.
Owen Mind Crushed himself to potentially get the pike bigger. I can't see if that actually happened. And then he played Bonds of Faith.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Luis can only smile at this point.
Tallying it up.
So we're going to sacrifice the Cathar. That's going to put a counter on something else that he can then sacrifice. Yeah, there we go. So he put it on the Bell Ringer. Gain 6 now from sacking the Bell Ringer.
Gain some more.
And he's going to go ahead and sack this count.
Am I back to 20 yet?
It's like a midnight guard. So Luis has to think about what he's got, and he decides he doesn't have enough. All right. So Arn Turtenwald gets by pretty much the worst case scenario, probably.